Okay, then we're watching D Flow Hobbs on something about. The only reason I want to watch this was because it's the Suns. The Suns is my favorite team, basically. Phoenix Suns have something strange going on with them. Sure, tell me.
The Suns have beaten the Warriors by double digits twice in the last 3 weeks, and in the second win, they didn't have CP3. Most of us are well aware of Phoenix's embarrassing blowout Game 7 loss to Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks. Because of how things ended, Phoenix having a productive 2022 offseason was incredibly important. At first, though, it seemed like Phoenix had a somewhat weak offseason as they lost JaVale McGee to the rival Mavericks, and Jay Crowder is no longer with the team and on the trade block after losing his spot in the starting five. Despite that, GM James Jones seemingly knew what he was doing after all. Undrafted sophomores in Dwayne Washington Jr. and Jock Landale, along with former Warrior Damian Lee, are proving to be seriously under-talked about offseason pickups. Who else did Phoenix sign that no one's talking about, and what makes the Suns so tough to beat? Before going further, just 8.6.
I feel like what makes them so tough to beat is you're going to get something from Devin Booker. You're going to get something from Ayton. And you're going to get something from Chris Paul. Like, most teams only have like 3 people where you're going to get something from most of the time. But our team, everybody could get something anytime.
Percent of you watching are subscribed, so if a bigger chunk of you were, that'd be huge for the growth of this platform. Splash thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm, and if you're on Instagram, follow at DFlowHoops. Despite eventually faltering a large percentage of their franchise ownership to Luka, in all seriousness, the Suns didn't win 64 games last year, and a year before that make the NBA Finals because of a coincidence. In terms of this year, it's only the regular season, but on a game winner from one of this team's key offseason additions in Damian Lee, the Suns exacted a portion of revenge on Luka's Mavs. Nothing will make up for Phoenix's Game 7 collapse where the team inexplicably didn't show up when the stakes were at their highest. Like my days of watching my LeBronto Raptors, the Suns fan base went through a traumatic experience and are looking for anything but false hope. And there's no getting around that Phoenix choked last year. Even taking that in, over Phoenix's first 14 games overall this year, the energy and camaraderie level in the Valley seems a bit different. Nearing the quarter mark of the year.
Yeah, they're always talking about how Ayton want to leave. I don't feel like he does, bro. I don't think Ayton wanted to go to the Pacers, and I don't think he wanted to go to the Nets either. Bro just wanted the ball more, and because CP is, they're probably like, look, bro, Ayton, come sit down. We want you to be more dominant, right? He just had a 29-20 game yesterday, 20 points, 20 rebounds. We want you to be more dominant, and we know you could do that because CP is getting older and he's going to take less shots, but he's going to take the shots that are needed, right? So they're like, bro, you're going to get your chance. Just wait a little.
And Coach Monty Williams evidently has the ear of his locker room, given the Suns are a top 3 team league-wide in both offensive and defensive efficiency. Amazing part about how well the Suns are currently playing is that they're doing it in an off year for Chris Paul, who's averaging a career low by far 9.5 points per game. Paul has been giving Phoenix a patented 9.4 assists per game, second best across the association, only behind Tyrese Halliburton. Paul's also the best by far among assist leaders in assist-to-turnover ratio. He's also number 2 in the NBA in that department. Regarding Paul's scoring, you'd expect the 18-year veteran to somewhat display mileage, and while Paul may have to accept his role getting somewhat smaller, I'd expect Paul's efficiency to increase at some point. Even if it doesn't, though, when Chris returns, he doesn't have to
he's okay with his role getting smaller, right? Because he knows he's getting older and he knows he won't be able to. He could drop 20 if he really needed to in a need-to game for him to drop 20. But unless nobody else is doing anything, like Devin Booker, Ayton, Cameron, none of the starters, none of the backup, none of the subs, whatever, are doing their thing, he's going to be like, okay, then I could go and do this.
Overextend himself in this Suns system, given how it's clicking right now. CP's a 9-time all-defensive team player, so if he's the scrappy bulldog that he always is on that end, Phoenix should be good. We'll never forget when Paul hit that clutch shot in Game 7 to bring the Suns within 46. But to be real, Paul has a legacy which can lead you to argue that he's the 3rd greatest point guard ever behind Stephen Curry and Magic Johnson. Along with CP having an off year, Cam Johnson has now missed 6 games total on the year as of this recording. The North Carolina product in Cam was making an NBA 24th best 43.1% of his three-pointers before going down. Johnson's going to miss the next 1 to 2 months after surgery to remove a part of his meniscus. In terms of Chris Paul, though, and the reason he doesn't necessarily have to be a top scorer this year for the Suns to be successful, is the young core of this naturally built roster having matured into a big three of their own. The under-26 trio of Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, and DeAndre Ayton gives Phoenix a balanced scoring punch. All three of Booker, Bridges, and Ayton are two-way players, owning at the very least a top 10 defensive rating at their respective positions. Not known as a defender, Booker showed off his solid clamps against the Dubs on Wednesday night, as in addition to his 27 points, Booker racked up 3 blocks. What Phoenix has going with their starting 5 is replicated with the weapons they have off the bench. A man who just dropped a career-high 29-piece on Golden State in Cameron Payne averages a team 3rd best, only behind Paul and Booker, of 4.1 assists per game. Payne gives you that Paul/Booker shot creation. Rarely mentioned free agent pickup Josh Okogie gives Phoenix Bridges-esque perimeter defense in short stints, and the center pairing of the screen.
They're making a new Puss in Boots movie
to say goodbye to Puss in Boots.
Oh.
Puss in Boots.
Okay.
Setting two-way hustle beast in Jock Landale and near East champion for my Raptors back in 2016, Bismack Biyombo, gives you that Ayton beastliness down low. Best story off the bench has been the aforementioned Jock Landale, who played 54 games for San Antonio last season and was traded to Phoenix on June 30th in a 3-team deal with Boston and San Antonio involving DeJounte Murray and Danilo Gallinari. Before making it to the NBA, the Aussie was an NBL champion and Grand Final MVP in 2021. A few years before that, Landale finished off an extremely successful 4-year NCAA career at St. Mary's. Now in his 2nd year on the very biggest basketball stage there is, Landale's 3rd on the Phoenix Suns in blocks per game, 6th in rebounds, and 7th in points. Jock's extremely fast for a center and is all around a stingy, difficult to match up with big man. Landale's contagious intensity and selflessness has helped make up for the loss of JaVale McGee. Ohio State product Dwayne Washington Jr. also went undrafted in 2021, and after 48 games for the Pacers last year, Indiana decided to put him on waivers. James Jones capitalized on the bulky two-way guard with a low center of gravity being available, and it's paid off. DWJ is one of an incredible 8 Suns rotation players who's attempting at least 2.7 threes on average per night and making at least 35% of them. The other 7 doing that for Phoenix are Booker, Damian Lee, Bridges, Cam Johnson, Cam Payne, Torrey Craig, and Landry Shamet. During the Championship Warriors regular season last year, there were moments when Damian Lee was a big-time rotation player. Damian was shockingly efficient and relied upon when you look back at his numbers from January and February for Golden State. Playing 15 outings in January of 2022, Lee made an elite 41.2% of 2.3 triples attempted per night. Damian ultimately lost his place in the rotation come the playoffs, but as former role-playing champion now in the GM booth in James Jones knows firsthand, you can have a winning impact even when you're on the bench. Damian's demeanor was big time for the Warriors' camaraderie, and it didn't hurt that he's Stephen Curry's brother-in-law. The brotherhood, bench sellies, and guard/forward depth that he and Juan Toscano Anderson gave Golden State is something the Warriors' locker room greatly misses. Now Damian's fulfilling that good vibe increaser role and then some in Phoenix. Lee's making 49% of his three-point shots, 10th best among all NBA players. Obviously, given former Raptor Yuta Watanabe ranks number 1 in this stat category, Damian's three-point numbers are inflated. Lee's always been a pure shooter, but the consistency level from this man has been incredibly strange thus far. Not only has Phoenix demolished the Warriors twice, but in the first blowout W against Golden State, they did it in historic fashion. The game on October 25th saw the Suns blow out Golden State by 29, which was the 2nd largest victory of all time over a defending championship team. But I want to know, in your opinion, do you have hope that Phoenix could win it all in 2023? Best answer down below in the comments gets next video's shoutout, and the top 5 commenters by December 21st earn free merchandise of their choosing.
Yes, I do think they could win. Sadly, I feel like the Cardinals are going to have to wait like a year or 2 maybe, so that we could get some guys on the defensive end. Because I feel like our defense is missing. Our offense is pretty stacked. We got the only thing wrong with our offense, I think, is probably the line, because some of the O-linemen are hurt and shit. But other than that, we got a good running back. We got a good quarterback. We got good receivers. And then on the defensive side, we got JJ Watt, who is getting older, but we don't. JJ Watt still does his shit though. And then after that, we don't really got anybody else. We got some people like I'm talking about like defensive line. In the backfield, we got people like corners, safety, all that. I feel like we got people, but in the defensive line, that's all we're missing. And right now, the Suns team is perfect. So yeah, time to time, Paul is obviously declining, and the Suns are still finding their footing. But it looks like Book is ready to put this team on his deck. I mean, yeah, James Jones mentally is not get the best play, but get the best fit. Got that groove back only because of Damian Lee, who brought them back against the Mavs. But it wasn't Booker nor Paul Beal. I mean, hold on. I'm gonna end this video. Subscribe to me, like my shit, and bye.